Jen here, and happy Mini Kit Monday to everybody. So I'm working with the PageMaps sketch that Dolly chose as one of the sketches for the challenge for June. All of that information is in the Facebook challenge group, so definitely go and check that out with the links down below. I just really liked this sketch because I think there's lots of details and a lot of things going on, but it also is just really nice and clean and simple. So I think there's lots of ways that you can interpret it and really make it work with whatever kit you've put together. So last week I did a kit about my boys, or I mean a layout about my boys. So this week I really wanted to do something about my husband. He doesn't pose for a lot of pictures for me, so I decided to go with these pictures from our anniversary. And of course we have an anniversary every year, and these particular pictures were from our 20th anniversary. We just celebrated our 21st this year. So I don't always have to have all of these anniversary layouts be about the anniversary itself. So I really wanted to make this one just about him. I went into my kit and I pulled out the Simple Stories Plaid Dad, 2 of those papers, and I wanted something that was a little bit brighter and a little bit different as kind of like a complementary color or a highlight color. So in that later Skater collection from Close to My Heart is that kind of teal blue color, and it has a little bit of distressing that is navy and lime green. So I thought this was kind of fun. This brings a little kind of different element, a bit of a brighter color. So those are the 3 pages or papers that I'm going with. The kind of birch tree bark, and then the black and white plaid, and this teal color. So I'm starting off by creating my little strips that you see in the sketch, and I'm measuring them out just to make sure that I have a really nice border of that navy blue. That's going to be my background. And I'm making my strips a little bit bigger than I know I'm going to need, just because then once I kind of get everything together, I can cut them down and really make them look exactly how I want them to. So I did measure. I don't normally do that. I like to eyeball things, but I did measure just so that I was starting off with kind of equal sections. So I think that my sections are 8 centimeters wide by about 22 centimeters long. Oh, I might have written that down for you guys for inches, but now I can't see what I wrote. Oh, 3 1/4 inches by maybe 8 3/4 inch. I think that's what it is. So now they're all, kind of even and ready to go, and I can really just play around with the elements that I have. I didn't have 3 pictures, I only had 2 pictures, so I'm going to use this card from that lone piece of paper that I had from Photo Play, and I kind of liked it because it has he is and then a whole bunch of different traits that you can check off. And I'm going to check them all off, I think. And then I just cut my pictures down a little bit to kind of match the scale of the card, because I did cut that down too. I just thought it looked a little bit better without such a wide border around it. And the pictures to the right hand side are a little bit smaller, so it doesn't match perfectly the dimensions from the sketch, but close enough. And I mean, obviously that's the beauty of a sketch, is that you can really customize it to make it work for your supplies and your style and the design that you're kind of going for with your layout too. So now that my pictures and my card are ready, I know that I want these strips to be a little bit shorter, so I just went ahead and cut them off, kind of eyeballed it, and that's a little bit closer to the dimensions of the actual sketch. Ooh, there was a thunderstorm that was rolling in, so my camera might zoom in and out a little bit here, or go blurry a little bit, because the clouds were just rolling in. It got super dark really quickly. So once I had everything to size, I am using my ruler. I'm not really paying a ton of attention to the exact measurements, the exact dimensions. I was more just using it to make sure that these strips were all kind of lined up at the top pretty close, and that it was in the center pretty close, pretty well to center. I generally like to just kind of eyeball that stuff, but sometimes when you're working with multiple strips of paper, it's nice to just have that ruler there to help you out a little bit. But here you can see I'm kind of eyeballing where I want that card and that picture to go, and then just using the ruler to line it up. And that's a good tip that I use quite a bit, is I'll do whatever the two end pieces are, and then I can figure out how the middle section is going to fit in. So for this middle picture, it's the picture of my hubby and me together. Oh, there we go again. You can see my camera's like, what is happening? We've been getting a few thunderstorms lately, so it's been kind of nice. I'm a big fan of a good thunderstorm. So here with this middle picture, I'm just going to pop it up on some foam, and then that way it just sits up a little bit. And instead of all of my pictures being different sizes, now they're just they just have a little bit of that dimension. And I think that looks pretty good. Okay, so now for embellishments. I'm pulling out all of the embellishments from my kit first. And the one thing about my kit is that the embellishments very much are little boy embellishments. I don't have any embellishments that go with the Plaid Dad collection or anything like that. I was thinking maybe I could have pulled out some of my Canadian themed ones that don't necessarily scream Canada, but have the colors of the red and the black and teal and stuff like that. But I'm gonna see what I can do with these embellishments and not try to bring in too many extra things. So this is the little iris container filled with all of those die cuts. Again, most of them are kind of little boy, more little boy than I was going for with this particular layout. But I do find a few things that I think might work. And I also decide as I'm going through there that I kind of like bringing in the element of yellow. I think because the beer and the little votive candle is yellow, and my Caesar kind of has those tones of more orange and yellow to it, that bringing in that additional color just is really that kind of pop that this needed. Everything is kind of dark. Even though there is white in it, it still feels kind of dark and kind of heavy, and the yellow just gives it a bit of a lighter element. So I went ahead and did my little cluster down here at the bottom. I did it right on that bottom edge instead of coming off of that left-hand edge. I felt like that just balanced better with this particular design. And then I have a banner, and I have a tag, and I have a little speech bubble. Those all come from that little monster collection. And then the handsome that you saw there, that actually comes from My Mind's Eye, from this big pack of embellishments that I got many, many years ago at Winners. And they kind of came in packs that were more masculine and more feminine, so I haven't held on to all of them. I think there might have been like 3 of each or 4 of each, and I primarily bought them because they worked really good as little things that I could throw into cards or make little packs of, gift bags to give at crops and stuff like that, or in my pocket letters. But I held on to a few of the pieces that I really liked. So my next kind of step was to try to figure out the big circle element at the top of the photo cluster. And in my layout, I've left my strips, I think I've left them a little bit longer, and so it didn't feel like there was really a lot of space to put a really large circle element like in the sketch. So I went into my wood veneer and I pulled out this pack that I got from Dollarama. It's just plain circles, and I thought that the wood, just the plain wood from these wood veneer, kind of matches the feel of that plaid, and it's kind of masculine. So I pulled out 3 different sizes. So the largest one I'm putting up in the top to kind of match where they put the title in the sketch, and then I put the medium one over to that left hand side and the smallest one down at the bottom. I also added some silver metallic washi tape, because again, the feel of the metal to me is very kind of masculine. So I have a couple strips of that in there. I found some silver stars. I think those came from Freckled, or sorry, they're not stars, they're hearts. Those came from Freckled Fawn. I think I have silver ones and I have gold ones. So I pulled out the silver ones, and some red hearts from Illustrated Faith, kind of enamel hearts, and some navy blue enamel dots. And I also put a little word sticker from Simple Stories into each of those clusters too. So that's kind of how I brought all of my clusters together. I didn't have really big elements to put into the clusters, so I just found a whole bunch of smaller elements to kind of give each cluster the same weight and the same feel as in the sketch. The other thing I decided to change a little bit too is that I put my title down under my photos. And I really had to think about how I was going to do this, because I could have gone with navy blue, I think, but I felt like if I couldn't get the exact match of the navy blue to the background paper, I was introducing another color and I didn't really want to do that. So I went with black, and then I knew I could add little black elements here and there if I needed to. And the writing on the menu is black, and there's a few other spots where in the pictures there's lots of black. So I figured it was okay to go ahead and do that. So I kind of MacGyvered the first two words a little bit. I found that word keeper in these foam words that I had, and I thought, oh, it would be fun because I already have on the card he is, so I thought I could kind of bring that down and be like, he's a keeper. I couldn't find is as a word, so I went ahead with he's. So the he actually comes from the word hey. I cut off the Y. The S comes from the word smitten, where I had already taken off the E, so I figured I might as well go ahead and keep cutting that word apart. And then the A is actually an ampersand that I cut off the top part of and kind of squished it all together to make it look like an A. And then the word keeper was there already as keeper. So I left that as my title, moved that down, and then just to kind of bring in some of that black, up at the top there was some little chevrons, so I added those to the top. And I think that works out really good because it kind of keeps that he is theme to this layout running. So I'm not always the best with titles, but I'm kind of happy with this one. And then I'm adding a little bit of journaling down at the bottom, just about how we've been together for 20 years at this point. And then up at the top, I documented that we were at the Westwood, which is for the last several years. It's where we go to celebrate our anniversary every year. It's just a local, tiny, tiny little restaurant that we love. And they're always trying to get my hubby to work for them. So we like to go in and visit and support them. And then to finish it off, I checked off all of the boxes on that card, and I did a sketchy border around the outside with the black. It kind of faded a little bit, so I'm actually going to go over it again with my white here, which the cardstock really absorbs this, so in the end it's not as bold as it looks here. It actually looks quite nice. And then I sprinkled some tinsel Heidi Swap Color Shine, and I'm all done. So thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it. Remember to check out the challenge group on Facebook. The links are down below because you could win a prize if you'd like to play along. If you have any questions, you can leave them for me in the comments. And until next time, happy scrapping, everybody. Bye!